Boy, jonni.shreve, BB Promise to tell like it is. Welcome back to a podcast, Uncut. We're gonna chit chat, guys. I'm gonna talk freely, talk off my head, and just kind of things I've been want to touch on, and talk about training, help you guys, optimize your training. But before we do, guys, subscribe to the channel. A lot of you guys are watching the channel, but not subscribing. Subscribe to the channel, guys, and hit the notification button so next time I put a video. The first ones to get. Also, guys, grab my ebook. All the Push-Pull Legs Training ebook is out. And also, guys, obviously, I am going to support my boy Greg. I'm also going to be an athlete for Harder Than Last Time Supplements, HTLT Supplements. Guys, the link is in my description, guys. Head down there right now. While you guys listen to what I'm saying, head down to the description, and you can get all those, links in there for coaching. Anything's down there that I do is down there. Support, hit below. Anyway, guys, I want to talk training. I want to talk just open conversation with training, and I want you guys to comment below, while you're listening to this, comment below, and we'll talk about this. So what are you training for? What is your goal? What is your physical goal? And then does your training, obviously we're gonna take into account that nutrition is where it needs to be. Anyway, training, we're talking training. Is your training, your programming, does it complement or aid, or is it synergistic to what your goals are for your physique? And I see a lot of people out there that are doing a bunch of different things. Number one, they don't really understand training. Number two, they're training as someone told them to train. So I see especially when it comes different coaches, and I see a lot of coaches I'll say some coaches who are powerlifters. A lot of powerlifting coaches, or if that's what they really like, you're doing a lot of powerlifting movements in your training, and you're like, hey, what do you want to, what are your goals? I want to lose fat, and I want to increase muscle. And yeah, it's all right, cool. And then your plan is it being a bunch of compound movements. For the most part, people are training to look good naked. I'm going to be honest. I am going to be completely honest with you guys and be bold. I'm going to tell like it is. If you're not training for a specific sport, performance-wise, you are training, eating and training. If you're in the gym, if you're health conscious, period, you're doing it because you want to look good. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not being narcissistic. You're not being arrogant. You're not being cocky. It is completely fine to want to look the best that you can look. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it. Because if you look at, how we are operating, are we operating at full capacity? Are we operating in ourselves at our fullest capacity? The best that we can bring, are we working there? So let's say hey, yeah, we are. Hey, my schooling, when I'm in school or I'm at work or whatever task I'm involved with right now, I'm working at 100% capacity. I am doing my best to perform, to make sure I'm doing this task the best I can. What's it look like? It looks really good, right? Why can we not have that same attitude with our physical self? Because when it comes down to it, we want to look good. Looking good is one of those things that's going to be one of the biggest factors of quality of life. And people are no, you're looking good. Listen, I'm not saying, when people say, look good, trying to look good and whatnot, talking about their physique and wanting to train to look good and this and that, and, to be prettier or to have more muscle or be sexy or whatever, people automatically think, oh, narcissism. Oh, you're being cocky or whatever. You're thinking about yourself, blah, blah, blah. No, there's nothing you were created perfectly. Like when I look at my daughter right now, looking at her, I'm like, she's perfect. And she looks perfect, and she's beautiful, and she is absolutely beautiful, and she is going to naturally completely be beautiful all the time. But there is going to be a time and a place where it will be her responsibility to maintain herself. Now, when it comes down, I'm not saying just looks. I look at her mobility right now. I look at the way she looks right now and the way she can just we're in gymnastics and ballet, and her mobility, her functionality is amazing. We were all like that at some point, and we all became not as functional. We started sitting more, we started eating out more often, whatever it is. But it has a direct effect on what we look like in the end. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So it has nothing to do with being narcissistic. It just has everything to do with how someone wants to feel in their own skin. You buy beautiful things. We get attracted to beautiful things. We want a nice looking car. No one goes out to buy an ugly car. Hey, it has nothing to do with what it looks like. It's what's in the car. You know what I mean? It's a really nice, beautiful. It's a good car inside, but the outside's rusted. And it doesn't really run that nice on the outside. It's a couple, scratches and the windshield's a little broken, but it's what's inside the car that matters the most. Yes, it does. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, a car is beautiful. It's when both inside and out are nice, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. So when it comes down to it, long story short, we're all just really trying to look good. There's nothing wrong with trying to look good. I say when it comes to me and coaching, my thing is your physical self being attractive is the by factor of having a healthy body, right? So the goal is to 100% look, you will look good the healthier you are, right? And I always emphasize that. So you shouldn't get shit on for wanting to look good, because sometimes looking good does equate to actually being healthy on the inside, right? And being more functional, like being in a functionally, mobile, agile, moving creature that can touch your toes and bend over and maybe go play a little sport with the kids or the grandkids or whatever. You should be able to do all that shit until you're until you cannot move at all. You should be able to play with your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids, whatever. Anyway, point is, emphasizing that your looks are a byfactor of your hard work in order to create or to sustain a healthy body. Now, there's a small minority of people who are out there training specifically to better a sport. Those are those who are in athletics, college, professional, semi-pro, bodybuilders, whatever it is. There's a small minority of people out there like this small, like this, that train specifically using, compound movements, whatever, for their sport, right? And that is needed. So, long story short, again, we are training to we're training to create a better overall physique. So, what does that programming look like, right? Now, yes, I guess this would be a plug for my push-pull legs training ebook. It's going to capitalize on training your muscle groups twice a week and getting a full frequency, volume, and everything else. Training, yes, it does. 100% does that. I do recommend that. So when it comes to training, if someone says, hey, what is the best way for me to put on the most amount of muscle, to be able to, to really optimize putting on lean muscle tissue as much as I can. That's why I really kind of promote push-pull legs training ebook, or just a push-pull legs plan to begin with, period. Anyone who has a push-pull legs training plan out there, good for them. That is a good system for those who are trying to put on the most amount of muscle in an optimal way. Just make sure the programming makes sense, right? In my push-pull legs training plan, there's different levels. And in those levels, you're going to have some compound movements, but I'm not going to flood my training plan with only things that I've learned, like that I would be most knowledgeable about. That's not what it's all about when it comes to training. That's why we have a lot of people doing the wrong training plans, the wrong systems to get the physique that they want, right? When you're looking at it, I want to, Jim or James or Jane or Christy or whoever it is, person A wants to, get a bigger chest. They already have good looking back. Their arms look really good too. And their legs look really good too. Well, you know what? They probably don't have to train any of those other muscle groups twice a week, but I would definitely try to train chest twice a week. Chest, right? So if you get a plan back and your only job or goal is I need to train my chest to get it bigger, and, but you want your program to be, at least balanced, you shouldn't get a plan that is predominantly more than what you asked for. Like, hey, I think you should do a push-pull legs training plan if your chest, if everything else is developed, but only your chest. No, it's like you probably only need like a 5-day training split. You only need to do the other muscle groups probably once a week, right? To sustain that muscle, right? Because to be honest, when it comes down to it, once you built the muscle you've built, you're just trying to sustain it. You're not forever trying to build muscle over and over and over again. I'm not trying to put on 10 more pounds, then another 10 more pounds, then another 10 more pounds. No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to sustain the amount of muscle that I have. So my program is based around sustaining that muscle. And for me, I'm doing a push-pull legs training plan right now because I'm doing it for my book, but I will venture off of that and do something more of like a 5-day, because for me, my legs don't need as much work as other parts of my body. So I don't really need to smash my legs twice a week. I can program it so my legs are hit balanced all the way around, hamstrings, glutes, quads, put a really good beat into them, train a little more, say myofibular hypertrophy, a little lower reps, more, just really hit that a bit here and there, switch it up to doing more of like cycloplasma training, but I don't need to do it twice a week. And I found a lot of people who get training plans, they're doing way more than what their body needs, or they're just training the way the other coaches tried to get them to train. So they're doing a bunch of it's like, why are you doing deadlifts if you don't need to? Like, you don't have to do deadlifts in a training. I'm not saying you're like, hey, but John, you tell people to do deadlifts. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if the majority of your training plan looks like a powerlifter's training plan, and you're not trying to powerlift, that's the thing, right? If the majority of your plan looks like CrossFit, and you're not trying to do CrossFit, right? If the majority of your plan looks like a bodybuilder's plan, and you only want to go to the gym 3 times a week, you only need to go to the gym 3 times a week. Let's say, person B is in their mid 40s, worked out their entire life, looks great, looks awesome, just really needs some accountability, needs to be in the gym maybe 3 times a week. Already looks great, does a bunch of different, activities, extracurricular stuff, rec sports throughout the week. So the guy's busy. Can only go to the gym and push weights 3 times a week, and you give him a push-pull legs training plan. We got to be really smart about like what we're actually getting, and then knowing what to look for in that. So that's what we're talking about. So those who are listening and watching this are like, review while I'm saying this. You should be like, hey, wait a minute, let me think here. What am I doing in my plan? Like, and number 2 is like, are you doing stuff in your plan that you hate, or that you don't really know how to do because maybe the coaching isn't there, or you just don't really connect well with that movement? Even if you have good, overall mind and muscle connection, you just don't like for me, tricep extensions, like skull crushers, they don't connect with me good. They used to, but now not anymore. I don't like skull crushers. I don't do skull crushers. I know they're a really good movement to do. Great movement to do. I mean, if you don't have any shoulder issues, whatever else like that, I think they're a great movement. Coupled with, little superset with, close grip bench after, press after. But I don't like it. So I'm not going to do it. But if I literally got my plan from somebody and I had like 6 or 7 exercises that I hate, after I told them what I do and do not like, right? You guys got to look at your plan review, and that's how you're going to become an overall. That's how you got to really get. That's where the mind and muscle starts to really, connect. Not necessarily you being in the gym. It starts with you understanding what your plan's supposed to do, right? Understanding the playbook, right? Like I always like going back to just my athletics, my football background. But you can learn a route and you can run a route good, but you can't run a route good in a system if you don't know the play. You can run an out on your own by yourself. But if you don't know the play and there's an out written in that play and you don't know the play, you're not going to run the route as effective or efficient as you should. And it's the same thing when it comes to going into the gym. If you go into the gym, you know how to bench, you know how to do a pull-up, you know how to do certain movements, but you don't really understand the plan itself or what it's supposed to do. It's the same. It's almost the same thing. Maybe not the fullest of that analogy, but it has merit in a sense where if you don't understand going into moving something, you're probably not going to move it as efficiently as you should because you don't really know why you're doing this certain thing. You should know for sure. Your plan should tell you exactly what you should be doing and why. Like, it shouldn't tell you why, but it should make sense to you. You should be in there like, hey man, I look in the mirror and stuff, and like for me, I don't really think that my arms are that big and stuff. And my chest is a little weak. My back's pretty big though. And you look in your plan, and you're like, I only have one arm day. I mean, I only have one movement with arms in it. It's weird. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Like, and then if you ask, they don't really have a real answer for it. That's that's one thing. And here's another thing too. Like, so some of you guys are training in different systems. You're using different principles in different systems, thinking that it's gonna work. And this is just me. And you can go research all you want and say, Johnny, I don't know. Look, when we're talking about like a lot of times when it comes to training, and I hear and I always get this, and a lot of times when I get consults and people are talking about well, my training and I want to optimize this and that and the other, it comes down to the fact that you guys are in the gym way too long, like way too long. I will touch on, the best type of training to build muscle, the most optimal way. Really, there is an actual almost optimal way to build muscle for those who are literally just trying to build muscle, look good. Either way, the biggest problem we have is people are in the gym way too long. Let me break it down for you really easy. Okay, we got two types of training systems. We already went over this before. Myofibrillar hypertrophy and sacroplasmic hypertrophy, right? Sacroplasmic hypertrophy, you're looking at those little high reps, 10 to 15, 10 to 8 to 12, whatever it is, 4-second negative. Sets last between 30 to 40 seconds, little maybe to a minute. You're resting a little shorter, which gives you the ability to, the load is around 80%, 75-80% of your 1 rep max, which allows you to be able to train more frequently. So you can train twice a week, right? That whole thing. That's sacroplasmic hypertrophy. The biggest part of that is the resting part. The resting part means you should be able to, because the load isn't as great, means you should recover, or your rest time doesn't have to be as long. So in order for the system to work, your rest time should be no more than the required amount of time for rest. I say between 1 to a minute could be, but 1 to 2 minutes, right? Myofibrillar hypertrophy, we're looking at that 5 to 7 reps, longer rest, because we're doing like closer to that 85-90% of the 1 rep max. Your load's a lot heavier, so you need a lot more time to recover, and then you're not training twice because you're beating the muscle up a lot more than you would be doing sacroplasmic hypertrophy. So take those two, and remember, resting is very important. So if I rest like I was resting using the fundamentals or philosophies from sacroplasmic hypertrophy, am I going to be successful training with the 5 to 7-ish reps, the lower reps, and the higher load, the higher load of the weight? No, you won't recover quick enough. You will not be able to. You need the time to recover for you to successfully do myofibrillar hypertrophy training, for you to perform it. You have to rest the required time in order to be able to do the required amount of sets in order for that system to work. Now, vice versa. If I'm doing sacroplasmic hypertrophy and I'm supposed to be resting like a minute to 2 minutes, and I'm doing the rest of a myofibrillar hypertrophy, so I'm resting 5 minutes. I'm not using enough of a load that requires me to rest that long, so I'm over recovering in one instance or under recovering in another instance. Recovery being the biggest thing we're talking about. So when it comes down to it, a lot of the times over the top, when it comes to not just if you're picking the right type of training for what you're doing or what your goals are, some of you guys are mixing some of the different fundamentals and principles of different training systems and trying to combine them and hoping they work, and they won't. You will under recover or you'll over recover, and that will equate to you not optimizing the most amount of muscle that you can gain. So think about that. And it's all math. It's really all math. I can make it really easy for you. Put it this way, right? Check it out. If we're doing sacroplasmic hypertrophy, we need to be training 10 to 20 reps a week, whatever, right? Let's say 16 reps, 16 sets, 16 hard sets. Not 16 sets, 16 like quality sets. Not 16, not 10 of them or your warm-up sets. 16 hard sets, like quality sets. Anyway, for you to be able to do that, that means your tempo should be around like 3 to 4 seconds. So if you're looking at it, say 30 to 45 second set, let's just give you more time and call it a minute. Let's just say it takes a minute to finish a set for hypertrophy, for sacroplasmic hypertrophy. Just say it, okay? 45 minutes, seconds being the most, whatever, okay? And then you do 8 hard sets. Let's just say you do 15, 20 hard sets. You did 20 sets in one day. 20 sets, full sets. Takes you 1 minute to actually do the set, and you're going to rest. I'm going to say you're going to rest longer just to give you more time. You're going to rest 2 minutes, okay? 1 minute to do the actual exercise, 2 minutes to rest. You do 20 sets in that day. That is 60 minutes. That's 60 minutes. I want to ask you guys a question. How the hell are you in the gym for that much longer? Now, put it this way. If you're doing myofibrillary hypertrophy, that means you're training a little more, you're training heavier. It means you need to rest a lot longer. You're not doing 20 sets. You are not doing 20 sets of myofibrillary hypertrophy at all. If you are, you're overtraining. You're beating a dead horse at that point. But the point is, mathematically, if you're doing hypertrophy, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, understand that there are two different types of hypertrophy, but hypertrophy is just expansion of the cell. For the most part, you're in the gym too long. Over recovering. That's why something like, hey, man, I'm not, when the first time I trained, man, woo, I was sore as heck the next couple of days. Then after that, it was not sore anymore. Guess what? It's most times not because you're recovering all of a sudden and adaptation just took over. No, it's because the first time you train and they got that first shock, you're like, shit, that hurts. Next time I'm gonna do this exercise, I'm gonna take my time a little bit longer. So you subconsciously take your time. If you're not looking on that watch to make sure you're doing your 1 to 2 minute rest or say 3 to 5 minute rest, you're over resting, guarantee. So check it. I want you guys to understand. I want you guys to look at it. Look at how much you actually rest in between your sets. And if you're doing sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is those higher rep range, yada, 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 that means you should only be resting for 1 to 2 minutes. So if you're in the gym for 2 hours and you say you're doing hypertrophy, you're in the gym for too long. Or you're not training hard enough. Anyway, thought I'd bring that to you guys. I want to give you guys all this information because it doesn't matter if I give you guys a bunch of free information. You guys still have to do it. That's why coaching is a really good thing, because it's when you get the coach, you really get the more attention to detail. So those extra questions that you have in your head, like, shit, what do you actually mean by this? I know we made it pretty clear and simple for me to understand, but I need to really understand, book a phone consult or get coaching. Or start off as coaches, I think, get the book. That's why I actually created the book. I created the book for those who can't afford coaching, or maybe they didn't really need as much coaching. They just needed they needed a plan to look at. It's amazing, guys. Get the book. Get it. Coaching guys, jonni.shreve.com. You guys know all about it. Said at the beginning of the video. Also, guys, HELT supplements in there. All of it's in the description. Fitarmy.com is in the description as well, too, guys. Let's get checked as well, too. These shirts are out on the site right now, so make sure you guys go to the site right now and pick yourselves up a shirt. We are out finally. Iron sharpens iron, and Muscle Masochist shirts are out. Tank tops and tees. We got tank tops for the women. It's here. It's happening because you guys appreciate it. You guys help me push it. You guys help me get things done. Really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, hope you guys liked the video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. Just like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you guys subscribe. Just like I said at the beginning of the video, subscribe. Anyway, guys, send me those progress pics, the training clips, and video clips, man, and I will repost it for you guys because you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.